actual All-Star game was good for the NBA. But All-Star Saturday night, I didn't even watch it. I went back and watched some highlights. Bad, bad, bad.
So I will say, and I texted you this. So, and I said this on the show last week. I did what I said I was going to do, and for the first time, I did not watch All Star Weekend live. I taped both the Saturday event and the Sunday event. For the record, I had no idea that the Friday Young Players Showcase game was a Peacock exclusive. I couldn't even find the game. I knew it was on. I legit could not find the game. I had to come to find out it was on Peacock. Um, but Saturday night, the one thing I will say is, while in my opinion, yes, I agree with you, it was a massive disappointment. The dunk contest needs a complete overhaul. It was just bad. I think the one good thing about it was they did start with the main event, which was the 3-point contest, which I don't know how I feel about the fact that Damian Lillard didn't play in the whole season and yet he was allowed to be in the 3-point contest, but it was entertaining nonetheless, and I guess that's what it's about. And yes, was the games, because that is the thing. It was 4 separate games, right? It was not one all-star game. So was the games on Sunday, 3 out of 4 of them competitive? Yes, they were. My issue with everybody saying, oh, this was such a massive success, is that everybody is attributing it to that it was USA versus the world. And I don't think it was that. And I don't think it was this round robin format. I think it was certainly this, that Victor Wembanyama came out and said, I'm going to put maximum effort into the All Star game. And once he did that, the other players followed. And I think that's all we need. We need Wembanyama, we need Ant, and we just need a couple of the new leaders of the NBA as the OGs are going to be departing from this All Star game soon. Like, I think you could very well, easily, in my opinion, go back to the East versus the West,
No.
or do young versus old, or do like you could do any format. To me, it's about effort. It's not about that it was just this format, round robin, USA versus the world. Always needs
That's
a
where
little
I
effort.
completely disagree with you. Because we've tried East versus West before, and the players just did not give a rat's ass. They really didn't. And I get it. You could put money on the line. I don't think the players would care anymore. When you put on a USA jersey or you're representing your country, that makes you care that much more. That's why I think Victor Wembanyama came out and said, I'm giving max effort. And the world didn't even have
No,
Giannis.
he's the only one that gave effort last year. Let's put that in. Now, I will say, I think that this format of the 4 12-minute quarters does force you to be a little more competitive because you're only playing 12 minutes at a time. However, my issue with it is this. Now, and maybe by hook or by crook, you may say, well, it doesn't really matter. But in my opinion, now, all the records, all the stats booked for all stars that we're going to look at historically are all going to be messed up because, Kawhi Leonard, let's say, he scored 31 points in the second game, I think it was. But I don't know how many points he scored, maybe a couple in the last game. And you're going to look at that and you're going to say, wait, they played 2 separate games. How do we even that out? So that's where I have a problem with this format is historically, to me, it's going to mess up everything in the future.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I don't think you can just do one game of USA versus World. So this was the best.
I think you could because I think that all stars need to be earned. That's the other thing. I thought that there was way too many all stars, to be honest with you. Some of them did not deserve, and they were just mostly on there because they had to fill a team format. I think you could very well do one USA team versus one world team, and I think you would get similar effort. The problem is,
I did like
go ahead.
that with the US, the way they organized the US Stars and US Stripes teams. It was basically, I think it was the Stars were the young guys and the Stripes were kind of the OGs.
Yeah,
So I
it was organized by age, which I mean, for an all-star game, like that would be a cool idea in itself. Like, so I think all of these ideas you can try. I'm not hinging on that. This is the exact format. Now maybe they do it again next year, right? Who knows? And I also think this. There is a portion of, as soon as the Super Bowl ended this year, the NBA, and it's been like this for the last couple of years, right? We pay attention to more NBA, obviously, after the Super Bowl. But this year, going into All Star weekend, it was all about, oh, the NBA has a tanking problem. The NBA has a 3-point problem. The NBA has an All Star game problem. The NBA has an effort problem. And Adam Silver basically got dog walked in the media this entire week, including from yours truly on my podcast. So I think, you know, the NBA collectively may have come together and said, we need a good night for our league.
yeah. And to touch on your point about the dunk contest, like I said, I was out without doing stuff, but even if I was at home, I wouldn't have wasted my time watching All Star Saturday Night. Didn't watch a single second of it. The only reason I know what happened is because I saw highlights on social media. But no, I was not going to waste my time on it because All Star Saturday Night has been horrible. The the last time I legitimately remember the dunk contest being amazing, even watchable, was Aaron Gordon versus Zach LaVine. That's the
Oh,
last time I can legitimately say the dunk contest was actually good.
yeah, and
Before,
here's the other thing about the dunk contest this year. There was no props whatsoever.
yeah, and like Mac McClung said, no, I don't want to do it. And you know who I will put the blame on for the mess we are in with the dunk contest? The man many consider to be the GOAT, the 4-time NBA champion. He led the Cavaliers back from a 3-1 deficit in the 2016 NBA Finals. The man who is rumored to be coming back to Cleveland over the offseason. He wears number 23. Yeah, LeBron James, this is your fault. All your fault. Because
Because, go on.
remember, he kept there was a while where he kept teasing, yeah, I'll be in the dunk contest, but he never did it. And so all the star players kind of saw that and were like, okay, I don't want to do it either. If he's not going to do it, I'm not going to do it. And so,
Well, there's a very easy solution, in my opinion, of fixing the dunk contest, which is get rid of the G Leaguers. No one cares about them. You take every single All Star and you put them to a fan vote. And the top 4 players that get voted on are automatically in the dunk contest and they cannot deny and they have to compete.
you know what? The other solution I have is don't even have NBA players in the dunk contest. If you go on the streets, there are some great dunkers out there that.
Well, that's what Max McClung should be. He should be a TikToker instead of a G League player.
But no, I get what you're saying. But by the same token, like some of these guys that are YouTubers or TikTokers, whatever you want to call them, they might not be great.
That's what the Celebrity All Star game is for. That's not for NBA All Star Saturday night. Saturday night should be let's showcase the greatest stars in our sport at the skill set that they do. And let's celebrate legends, future players, and current players. Which is why, to me, and I've said this before, I get rid of anybody who is not an all-star, G Leaguer or a guy they bring in for the skills competition, like outside of legends and a WNBA participation, I am having current all stars involved in this. That goes for the skills competition, that goes for the 3 point contest, and that goes for the dunk contest.
Like I said, the the last time I was truly like interested in NBA All Star Saturday Night was when they did Steph versus Sabrina. Like there was just something about that I'm like, I love this. Like this is great.
See,
And
I think you can incorporate the WNBA stars into the skills competition like how they used to do back in the day. I would have one NBA player, one WNBA player, and one legend, and it can be from the same city, but they can do a layup, a free throw, a 3 pointer, an elbow jumper, and shoot half quarters, and they have to make all five of them in a timed event, like it used to be back in the day.
yeah, I mean, I feel like they're on the right track with the actual All Star game itself, but All Star Saturday Night needs a complete and total revamp.
Yeah, like I am very wait and see. I thought the All Star game was good. Again, I thought it was a little gimmicky. And I get it, it's All Star weekend. It's not supposed to be, this end all try hard and all out, but I still don't think it should be a gimmick. What have I always told you and what have I always said? Gimmicks are made for professional wrestling, not professional sports.
Yeah, I understand that. When the score is like 200 to 195, it's like, okay, clearly you guys didn't try. Why should I give a rat's ass?
Well, no, it's not that. It's when the score's like 250 to 230, 200 to 175 with the best players on the court. I think, old All Star games that we loved and enjoyed used to be 170 to 150. But the reason why I'm advocating personally to go back to the Eastern Western format is because, you know, I remember 2014 when a young Kyrie Irving, who was on the Cavs, won the NBA All Star Game MVP. But guess who was also on that team? LeBron. And we could fantasize and we could think of, hey, one day could LeBron play with Kyrie back in Cleveland? Of course, it ended up happening. That's what to me All Star Weekend is about. Is oh my God, LeBron, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, they're all on the same team. Or Jason Tatum, Giannis, Jalen Brunson, all these stars on the same team instead of this gimmicky play to 40 sort of format. Like, I just want the best players in the world all on one court.
No, I understand what you're saying. But, like, as you told me in the past, players don't really care about divisions in the NBA. And to a certain extent, I don't think they really care about conferences either. Like, we've seen, we saw a number 8 seed make it all the way to the NBA Finals just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like, we've
well, I'll tell you what would make them care about conferences.
okay.
You put home court for the finals on the line.
So you're talking about like what Major League Baseball did for the All-Star
Yeah.
game.
Yes. You go back to East West and you put finals home court on the line. And not only do you do that, but you change the finals back to the original 2-3-2 format, which makes home court even more valuable in that format, in my opinion.
Okay, I wouldn't change the format back. I like the 2-2-1-1-1 format that it is now. But I do understand what you're saying. I don't like that part. See, again, to re-emphasize what I was saying last time, that's why I loved the MLB All-Star game was the winner gets home field advantage for the World Series. Think about it. Why did the Cleveland Indians have Game 7 of the 2016 World Series at Progressive Field? It's because the American League won the All-Star game.
That
Or
And by the way, baseball does a 2-3-2 format for all of its series.
And that makes a little more sense because Major League Baseball during the regular season does typically 3-game series or 4-game series.
Yeah. Well, the NBA has been doing more of the sort of home and home series.
Yeah,
sometimes you play 2 straight games in the same building against the same team.
Yeah. It's weird.
I think the Heat and Bulls, didn't they play 3 straight games against each other, like 2 in Miami and then 1 in Chicago?
Well, that was partially because a game they were supposed to play in Chicago got postponed.
Yeah, but they had that like a week before, and then they had a home and home, so they were playing each other like 3 times in a 2-week span regardless.
The Heat and Cavs did that in Miami where they played each other like 2 times in 3 days, and they're going to be doing it again here in Cleveland.
Yeah. Outside of All-Star Weekend, there's been a lot of talk about tanking in the NBA, specifically because of what the Utah Jazz have been doing.
Remember when I said before the season the Utah Jazz would make the playoffs? Remember that?
Yeah, I think we're going to file that under a Josh was wrong category. Because now Laurie Martin, Jared Jackson, go ahead.
Dude, I wasn't even just wrong on that. I was like, saying incredibly wrong doesn't even match how wrong I was about the Utah Jazz.
By the way, they don't even know how to tank right because they're still winning games when Laurie Martin and Jared Jackson sit the entire fourth quarter. But Adam Silver came out. He is so vehemently against tanking that he is considering potentially getting rid of the lottery and the entire NBA draft altogether.
So I've heard this conversation. I don't think they're going to actually get rid of the draft because think about how many small market teams like Cleveland, Charlotte, maybe not Memphis because Tennessee doesn't have a state tax, but Cleveland, Charlotte, Milwaukee, teams like that.
There goes any chance of getting any star player for the draft or free agency.
Bingo. That's exactly my point.
But Adam Silver said he's open to it, and he's open to all options. It's on the table.
I don't think that's like that serious.
I mean, he's the one that said it. He's the one that said he'd think about getting rid of the draft if it came down to it.
When he says getting rid of the draft, I don't think that's what he means.
Well, what else could that mean?
Like completely changing the format of it.
Well, how do you completely change the format of a draft?
That's the part I'm not sure of.
The NFL doesn't have this issue, and they're the only league that doesn't have a lottery. And by the way, the Jets are in the top 5 every year. They still can't figure it out. And neither can the Browns and these other franchises. So why can't we just say, hey, Wizards, you've been bad forever. Excuse me. Here's the number 1 pick.
Because they probably still screw it up.
Exactly my point. Do the NFL model. You're bad, you get the first pick.
Yeah. I honestly, what's funny is with the NHL, they also do a lottery and a regular draft. And yes, some of the teams stay bad, but sometimes these teams are able to start putting it together if you get the right piece.
By the way, the NBA has been doing the lottery for years. And and I've said this on the show before, I do think certain years the NBA draft lottery is rigged. I 100% agree with that. But guess what? How do you think the Spurs would have got Victor Wembanyama? It certainly wouldn't be because, they walked out and, won a lottery. No, they tanked. And they got the number 1 pick. Excuse me.
Yeah. Philadelphia tanked, but it didn't really work out for them. Joel Embiid hasn't been able to stay healthy. They could have gotten Jason Tatum. Nope. They wanted Markelle Fultz, and, that worked out well for them.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, the NBA does not have a tanking problem. The NBA has a general manager office problem. The Spurs are one of the most well-run teams in the league. Bad for a couple years, all of a sudden now, after 1 year, they are back in NBA Finals contention. And why do the Oklahoma City Thunder have a war chest of picks? Because their general manager, Sam Presti, is one of the best in the league.
Yeah. And it's basically guaranteed that pick from the Clippers is going to be in the lottery because they traded two of their three best players.
Yeah.
And Kawhi's not going to be able to carry them, which I still don't get why the Clippers did that because they had been playing better, and yet they still decided to blow it up.
Well, I think they realize that they're not real championship contenders.
You're most likely right, but I do think the NBA does have a tanking problem. So I don't agree with you on that. But
well, what's the problem?
But here's my thing: is yes, they have a tanking problem, but the teams who are tanking aren't benefiting the way they think they should be. Like Utah has been tanking for years, and they're still stuck in the basement. Like Washington, they've been bad for years, and yet
Charlotte.
Exactly, and yet these teams continue to just trip over their own feet. So yes, the NBA has a tanking problem, but at the same time, the teams aren't benefiting from it. So in this case, I think two things can be true.
Somebody brought up, well, what if whoever doesn't make the playoffs, what if you all just have the same odds for the lottery? And I'm like, yeah, but then, like, let's say a team, like Dallas, who walked out this year, a team who just missed the playoffs and ended up having this year, they got the number one pick when all of a sudden Cooper Flagg's going to a pretty good organization. That's not going to be the case every single year. And I will say this is going to be a more important conversation because as we're going to talk about tonight, we have stars now because of NIL and because of better coaching and because the NBA finally, after years and years and years, has embraced college basketball. We have legitimate stars now coming out of the NBA draft where I think draft picks going forward are going to be more of a valuable commodity.
Yeah. Plus, you have guys who are trying to go back to college after not working out in the NBA G League, like the guy from Alabama.
Yes.
And the court ruled, no, you can't do that. Which I agree with that. If you leave college to go to the NBA, you can't come back to college. That's not how that works. Sorry, no.
You could if you technically didn't get drafted.
Yeah, no. I still say no.
If you don't get picked up by a team after the draft and you're just hanging out there, I mean, why not go back to school?
Okay, that's different. But if you're in the G League, no, you can't.
I agree with that. If you're in the G League, I agree with you.
Yeah. Okay, I misunderstood what you said. But
so
you were saying if a player goes undrafted and nobody signs him,
yes.
Yeah, then yes, they should be allowed to go back to school. That's fine. But if you get drafted, even if you play 30 games, let's say, not even a full season, and you decide, hey, I want to go back to school, no.
So the NBA, in my opinion, has a free point problem. They still might have an all-star problem. They have a regular season problem. And I think they have a little bit of playoff fatigue problem. I think the playoffs lasting almost 3 months is ridiculous. But my bottom line is they have way too many more problems to worry about than the Jazz and Hornets not figuring out how to tank correctly.
That I agree with. Man, I can't even say I was incredibly wrong about the Utah Jazz. I don't know what I was thinking.
But think about what all these sports shows, the week of the Super Bowl, ones like ours, we have spent the first 26 minutes on our show today talking pretty much. I mean, the All-Star game is an on-the-court thing, but almost nothing about being on the court. It's all about off-the-court issues.
Yeah. You're 100% right. And one of the biggest problems the NBA has in general is they don't market their stars.
Well, that's very interesting. Did you hear what Adam Silver said about that over All-Star Game weekend?
I did
Which
not.
he is right on this. He said, people are finding our streaming at record rates and our cable viewership is through the roof. Yeah, it is because you have a partnership with NBC where last year you were on TNT. Cable to broadcast is different. And yeah, numbers are up on streaming. You want to know why? Because you didn't have any numbers on streaming last year and you put all the games there. Like the big number and increase in All-Star Game viewership, I think partially has to do with the fact that people were tuning in because the Winter Olympics were right before it or right after it, excuse me.
Yeah. By the way, I like that the NFL gives NBC the Super Bowl when the Winter Olympics align. I know that this year was the second time that's happened. It also happened when the Rams played the Bengals. I personally really like that.
Yeah, the NBC is in a jackpot, man. You talk about the Super Bowl, All-Star Weekend, and then the Winter Olympics in a 2-week span.
Yeah. And they're going to be getting Major League Baseball as well.